You're listening to Sox in the Basement, a production of the Broadcast Basement Limited, where every show is 30 minutes of good and comes from a basement bar on the south side of Chicago. Pull up a stool, pour a cold one, and join us right now for Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. So how does Major League Baseball enforce a lifetime ban of a fan? Like, I thought about this after the story, which it's terrible, depending on what was actually said. It's terrible that a fan would go to a ball game and make fun of a player's dead mother. Like, that would be just... If you're sitting in the stands next to a guy who's doing that, you should be mortified by it. You should be like, hey, buddy, sit down. Like, that's... You know, I like to heckle people all the time, Ed. I'm a big heckler from back in the day.
I know.
Okay? Like,
you and I have heckled.
I love to heckle. I love to talk crap. I like to find something about a player and just lean into it, especially in the outfield. And if you get a reaction, they turn around, it's awesome. But there's a nuance to the whole thing. But this guy,
yes.
Whatever he said,
yes.
and here's the interesting thing. I've read at least one article today that had an anonymous source, so I don't know if it's true or not, that insinuated all the guy did was he was giving him a hard time saying he texted his mother last night. He was basically making mom jokes. And it's possible this idiot didn't know that Ketel Marte's mother had died, tragically, right?
While he was in Chicago, of all places.
Right. So maybe the guy just doesn't know anything about his history. He's making mom jokes, but mom jokes are pretty low. You know, it's just weak. It's weak, and like you said, you got to do a little research. You got to know who you're heckling. Also, why would you skip over the first baseman to go to the second baseman in any situation? The first baseman's right there. It's true. It's true. Go with the easier guy. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, some of the best heckles are the simplest ones. You don't need a mom joke. Well, my buddy and I, when we were teenagers and we were idiots, we used to sit out in the first row of, it wouldn't be section 108. It'd be like section 106. It would, whatever that is, like right when you get into the actual outfield. Maybe two sections in fair territory, past the foul pole, down in right field. In fact, those seats aren't there anymore because it's the bullpen bar now. They took out a few rows. It's actually where that Miller Lite deck is, or whatever that is. That fan zone is now with the high tables and everything like that. There used to be seats there. So when we were younger, we would sit there as teenagers. And one of the things we used to love to do is pretend we had something nice to say to the opposing player. Right? Like he still calls me on the phone every once in a while, and he will remember the guy's name that we really got with it. His name was Matt Mieske. I want to say that he's just like a 1 year maybe in the majors type guy. You'd have to look him up.
Yeah, I remember the name sort of.
Maybe for the Brewers, maybe for I don't know who he played for. But I remember he's out there, and it's like one of those games, like a typical White Sox game, right? There's like, 10,000 people in the stands. It's a Tuesday. It's the middle of the summer. They're not that good. And we're yelling at this guy. And we're doing everything we can to get him to turn around. So we're being really nice to him, right? And we're like, hey, Mieske. We're just, hey, man, nice hustle. Hey, this, hey, that. And finally he takes the bait. When we yell in like the fourth inning, hey, Mieske. And he turns around and we both go, you suck. And then like you could just see his face just drop. We just wanted him to look at us when we told him that. Now, that may seem simplistic to you, but you can get away with a lot without having to drag some guy's mother into it, right, Ed? Like, I mean, that's kind of what...
Yeah.
When I read the story, I was like, either the guy is this heartless, horrible human being who should be dragged out in the street and set on fire because he knows that Marte's mom died and died tragically, right? And he's literally using the death of a player's mother to heckle. That is so down low. It's awful. It's like a stain on White Sox fandom.
Yeah, it's right up there with beating up a first base coach. Right.
It's just like that. It's just like the Leguis of Elsip running out on the field. And father-son team, remember? They were a father-son team. Dad and Sunday at the ballpark, whatever it was, the two of them.
They were missing chromosomes and shirts right there.
And teeth. I remember the pictures. And and the funny thing is, like, as a 911 dispatcher years later, they live in unincorporated Cook County. So whenever they would get pulled over, I would read back their information. Because everybody gets pulled over. I would read back their information. The guy who beat up the first base coach for the Royals, and then I would read back the information over the radio to the officers. Because you would see the name. Okay, they still exist. They still exist on the south side, those guys. But that's down low. And if you're using the death of a player's mother for heckling fodder, that's terrible. Just terrible. Now, on the other hand, if he's a moron who just didn't know, or just an uninformed person, because I don't know. I didn't know that Marte's mother was dead until this happened. I didn't know, right? Like, I don't keep up on every baseball player or their family. And it was years ago. It isn't recent. It isn't recent. It's years ago.
2017 is when she died, so it's been a while.
That's a long time ago. I mean, with COVID in the middle, that's like 40 years ago. COVID expanded time like some sort of weird vortex, right? Like there's pre-COVID and post-COVID. If it happened pre-COVID, it might as well have happened 20 years ago.
It's AD and BC.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
Exactly. So if he doesn't know and he's just going lowbrow mother humor, all right, fine. I don't know if he gets banned for that, but I don't know. But my question is, how do you enforce that? Like, that's been bothering me since I read it. Like, I know he can't get season tickets under his name, right? Like, he couldn't call up and say, hi, my name is Joe Smith. You know me. I'm the guy that heckled Marte's mom after she died. I would like to buy season tickets. Like, he's on a list somewhere where they're going to say no. I get that. Major League Baseball could probably put something in there that says, if this guy tries to buy tickets and uses his real name, then we're going to stop him. But whenever I see these bans, like those guys that reached out into the field, I think during a Yankee game earlier in the year and grabbed a player's arm because they were convinced that the moment the ball and the player move into the stands, the player is free game. They actually thought that was a rule. Remember those guys? Like the outfielder, I can't remember who it was, runs to the wall and leans in to make the play, and they start punching him essentially. They're like, well, he's in the stands. You could hit him in the stands. He's lucky it wasn't Bat Day. He's lucky it wasn't Bat Day. I would have broken his nose. Yankees forever. Like that. Those guys got banned too for life. But how do you guarantee that you're not letting these guys in the ballpark? Like it just seems like it's a symbolic thing to me.
Does the MLB have facial recognition software as you walk into all the parks? That's what I'm wondering.
Jerry
about
can't even park cars in a timely manner. They don't have a way to block somebody from getting in the ballpark.
No, they really don't.
No,
they really don't. I mean, I think it just makes it harder on him. Is the only thing you can really say, because like you said, can't buy tickets in his own name. The name probably pops up if the credit card gets used or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly what it is that means, but it's about the only gesture you can have. You can't really arrest him for that. You could have arrested the guys, the Yankee fans that started, giving the outfield the business.
They grabbed him by the arm. Like, I'm exaggerating. They started punching him, but I believe they grabbed him by the arm and then physically tried to twist his arm and his wrist to pop the ball out of his glove.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that could have been assault.
That's just it.
Right.
Like, there's certain things that you can and can't do. I mean, if you jump down on the field and streak, even if you bring your little green hat, you're still not going to get away with it because there are criminal charges that are involved in that. And yeah, but a lifetime ban for saying something incredibly, either, like you said, either incredibly ignorant or incredibly insulting it's just going to be hard to sit there and say that this guy's never going to see the inside of a Major League Baseball stadium again. But again, what else can you do in the situation except sit there and say, this is how we have to respond.
Well, it feels symbolic.
To somebody doing this.
That's the thing.
That's all it is.
It feels symbolic. Like if he's a season ticket holder, you rip away his season tickets. Okay, now you've really done something, right?
With no refund, yeah.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing. Like, I mean, anybody can get into a ballpark. He can walk up to the ticket window any day he wants to and pay cash and walk into the ballpark. They're not going to have his picture up on the wall in the window.
No. The only giveaway.
Yeah.
The only giveaway will be that if he walks up to the ticket window and says, this is for your mom from last night.
You're right.
Then they'll know.
Oh, it's the mother joke guy.
Yeah. It's the mother guy.
Right. It's the mother guy. But yeah, so that was, to me, when I read it, that was my main question. Can you actually ban somebody for life, and how do you enact that? Okay. I mean, I right away I was like, okay, either a complete piece of garbage who doesn't represent White Sox fans, or somebody who just doesn't know, right? He's just not up to date on what's going on in the family of every Major League Baseball player. And he was like, I was talking to your mom last night, and that's all he did. It's one or the other, right? But in the end, I was just trying to figure out, well, how do they stop somebody from getting into a ballpark? And I cannot come up with a viable way that they do it. I think every one of these people that's ever been lifetime banned goes to baseball games still.
Well, and now you're going to have to prove, I'm sure to get into the rate, you're going to have to prove that you don't know any mom jokes and that you've never texted a mom or talked to a mom, in which case they'll let you in. It's kind of like when one teenager goes bad and then they ban everybody under the age of 18 from entering the ballpark.
If you're watching the video, you see the new shirt I got, Window and Door Superstore of Oak Forest t-shirt. I got one of those.
Nice.
Yeah, came by and dropped it off. They're working on one of my windows in the house. We had I talked about this, I think, on a previous show. One of my daughter's idiot friends, I guess all the windows in her house open where you push on the glass. I've never seen windows like that before, but she just stuck her hands through the glass of a double hung window. Nobody was drinking. There were no drugs involved, just stupidity. And the glass got shattered, so they're taking care of me, which is wonderful. They dropped off some shirts. Although I think I must look really big on camera because every shirt they dropped off was a size bigger than what I normally wear. But I'm going to wear it. It's comfortable. I kind of swim in it. It's okay. Right? I give that impression, don't I, Ed? I give that impression like, I'm tubby. I'm not that tubby. I'm a large.
Well, the camera
I'm a large.
adds...
That's what I wear. I wear a large t-shirt.
Yeah, the camera adds pounds, right? My head isn't this big.
Yes, it is.
For those of you, okay, you're right. The headphones are keeping it compressed somewhat. But.
For exterior windows, doors, patio doors, and storm doors, look no further than Window and Door Superstore of Oak Forest. No high-pressure sales are not in your kitchen. You're in their showroom checking out full examples and glass designs on display. No pictures in a book. See it all in person with an owner in showroom and on site. All Window and Door Superstore installers as well. They don't farm out the work. For 40 years, they've been doing it that way. Even more than that. In Oak Forest since 1985. All major brands custom made with no stock items for a perfect fit. They are a half block east of 159th and Ridgeland at 6280 159th Street. See more at windowdooroakforest.com. I was looking at some stats for White Sox players, curious, as I am always at the end of a month, what is really going on with the team. Because I think you get swept up in streaks and games and positive press sometimes put out by the team and those that love the team, and sometimes you get caught up in negative press. What's really going on? And I found some things. I found one thing that was really positive. Kyle Teal, figuring it out. All right.
Yeah.
He's now got 14 games under his belt. He's made the adjustment, it seems like, because he's already up to hitting 282 with a 408 on base percentage, a 767 OPS, and that includes the adjustment period. So I love what he's doing. That's awesome. But the name that I want to bring up, and also Lenin Sosa. If you look at Lenin Sosa over the last month, he continues to do really well. His entire season now is he's hitting over 277. He's gotten over that OPS mark that I said, I want you over 700 or don't stay on my baseball team. So like he's becoming a very viable player. And it goes back to something that we said about him last season in the offseason. Give this guy regular at bats, give him some consistency. Let's see if he does what he did at every level. I know he's an unexpected piece that came from your minor leagues, but it's a good thing. I am, though, concerned because I'm a big Chase Mydroth fan. And you look at what he's done since he's gotten up here. He's hitting 264. And his on-base percentage is still right around 350. But his last 30 days are atrocious. It's not good. And as much as I got excited about the idea that they fixed Miguel Vargas, for the season, he's hitting 233 with a 736 OPS. He's no longer on that tear. His last 30 days, Miguel Vargas, the OPS is down to 668. He's hitting 209. He's sliding back. So do you get worried when I say that? Do you? Because that's the thing. I'm reading things about the first half and positivity, and Chris gets talking about all these good things that are happening. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Vargas is already sliding again. And Mydroth is having a hard time making the adjustment. So are you worried about those names? Or do you say that's the ups and downs of a season?
I mean, some of it's got to be ups and downs of a season. Vargas is the more concerning of the two because he has struggled in longer periods of time in the majors. But Mydroth and Kyle Teal, it's coming, and we saw it a little bit with Edgar Caro. There's periods where the league starts to figure you out again, and you got to turn around and make another adjustment until you got him to a point where either you can outguess the pitchers and what the pitching staff wants to do to you, or until you can get it so that they don't know exactly what to do with you either, because there's a couple of different ways for you to get on and for you to take care of business. And with Meidroth, he's such a good bat to ball guy that you got to figure at some point he was going to run into a situation where the contact was going to get weaker, where he's going to start putting balls in play that aren't finding holes or aren't hit hard enough to get through an infield or to get out past the outfielders or whatever it is. And that's going to happen. I think that's an up and down. Vargas, he made an adjustment. It was working. He was getting his stats up. He was doing some really good things, really positive things. And now he's fallen off again. You're right.
Now he's middling again. Now he's not good enough to be an everyday corner infielder.
No, because the OPS, like you said, even over the last 15 days, 631 OPS, on base percentage of 269. And, no one's really lighting it up the past 15 days.
No,
frankly,
but the last
entire
30,
team looks terrible.
30, he's hitting 209 with a 668. Meidroth is under 600 as OPS in the last month. So, I mean, like that's the thing. Like, look, I'm looking for positivity. I want him to be good. I want this team to be good. Right. I want these guys to develop. I've been excited about the good things that I've seen. But if you weren't paying attention in June, some of the names you were excited about in May had bad Junes. And you needed to see another month of it, right? Like, if a guy's going to be a legit Major League Baseball player and part of your future, he's got to have more good months than bad months. That's the whole idea behind an average. Like, if we get back to the simplistic thing that is stats in Major League Baseball, average is the average amount of times they're getting a hit. On base percentage, the average amount of times that they're getting on base. We live by averages. And the average is done because sometimes a guy goes on a 2-week downturn and sometimes the guy goes on a heater for 2 weeks. But what I'm seeing, especially with Vargas, which is concerning to me, we had a really great month. And now we're back to what we were before. And so if that goes into July, how long until those covering the beat, when a guy like Getz is talking about Miguel Vargas, like the big turnaround, say, yeah, but he hasn't been doing that for the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever. Because that's what I'm wondering, are you really worried about it? Because it does worry me. I don't expect this to be, we always say this, development's not linear. And I know guys are going to have up and down months. But that concerns me because we were really excited about what he might be. And sliding back in, doing a whole month of those numbers, that looks more like the guy that I saw in April. And May looks like the anomaly now. If he doesn't turn around and start bringing it back up again in July, May looks like an anomaly for Vargas, not a fix.
Well, and here's the one thing you could hold on to. When you look at what those guys are doing, over the last 30 days, Meidroth and Vargas are leading the team in walks. All right?
Well, that's a good thing.
Both of them have their strikeouts down. Vargas has stolen 3 bases, hasn't been caught. He's got 2 home runs, 2 triples, and 5 doubles. So when he is hitting the ball, he's hitting it. I mean, he's really hitting it hard. So there's some good things there that you can kind of sit there and say, okay, he's still seeing the ball well. When he does get a hold of it, he's stinging it, right? I mean, he has 19 hits in that time period, and of those, 9 of the 19 are extra base hits. So that tells me that there's still something good going on versus what we saw in April, which was a guy who couldn't even make contact for the most part and wasn't really doing anything of any real note. And that was the guy we saw last year. He was just hopeless at the plate. Meidroth is still getting on base. He's not hitting the ball very well, but he's still getting on base. The on-base percentage of 317 isn't fantastic. It's not what it was at Charlotte and not what we had kind of come to expect from him, but he is still contributing. So I think those are important things to think about too, is like, okay, are they sliding to the point where nothing good is happening, or are they just sliding to the point because they're just not finding the holes or not? It's a slump. It's a slide. It's a June swoon of some form or another. And I think you can kind of look at it both ways because there's reasons to doubt a rookie at all times. There are reasons to doubt a rookie. And with Vargas, he just hasn't given us anything to sit there and say, you, my friend, have a very long leash before we start to sit here and wonder if you are really going to be somebody who turns it around, or if you're just a guy that, got lucky for a few weeks, like you said. So he does have to show it. Now, if he has a bad June and comes back in July, especially with a little bit of time off, because I don't think Vargas is going to the All-Star game. I don't know how it ended up being Vargas versus Shane Smith, but I don't think that's who's going.
Well, and that's another guy I didn't even touch on who's had a bad last 30 days.
And at least with Shane Smith, I can say definitively that one's an easy one to spot. He's almost at the amount of innings he threw last year.
Right.
So I'm
less panicked about him. That's probably why I never got to him when I was making this example.
I got to figure he's just gassed, But with Vargas, I would think that an opportunity to do a little reset around the All-Star break and come back and, get back to keep on doing what he's doing even and see if the results get better. I think there's an opportunity there for something. And I also think that there's an opportunity for something with Chase Meidroth. He just probably more so than Vargas needs to adjust to the league again because they've clearly either adjusted to him or they've started figuring out the positioning for where he's going to hit the ball or something. And I don't have metrics in front of me that can tell me exactly what it is, but that's just baseball, right? That's how it happens. That's when your slumps happen. You either aren't seeing the ball, which 11 walks over 18 strikeouts tells me that Meidroth is at least still seeing the ball, or you are not able to do anything, right? You're not able to find the hole. You need that one more bloop, that one more bleeder through the infield. What was Crash Davis talking about in Bull Durham, just one more seeing eye single.
And then all of a sudden you're in the majors. That's the whole thing.
All of a sudden you're in the majors.
That's what you're looking for. I think it's really funny. While you were talking there, both of us took text messages and we both got distracted. Mine, I think, was more important than yours, though. Mine was not a text message. Some exteriors company is calling me, and I have no clue. Okay, well,
why,
we don't interrupt the show for that. I
had
the mayor of Evergreen Park hitting me up on the phone.
See, yours is important.
Inviting me to a party today. Because as we're recording, they're getting ready for their 4th of July. So the pre-party for all the very important people in Evergreen, and I guess this podcaster is important enough that he got invited. I've been invited up, too.
So you guys party for a week straight in Evergreen Park leading up to the 4th of July. That's amazing.
It's more fun in the south suburbs, Ed. It's more fun in the south suburbs. Let's get to the Sox Nerd. Music is for the Sox Nerd, Dave Marin, who brings all those tidbits and trivia nuggets to the scoreboard at the rate, and then also brings them to us here on Sox in the Basement with even more each and every weekend. And he's brought to you by the Village of Lamont. Want to experience a downtown with real history, great eats and drinks, and green spaces filled with adventure? Visit the Village of Lamont. Shop, dine, drink, explore. Check out everything they have going on this summer. Tuesday nights, they do a farmer's market with drinks and food and live bands. Everybody else is in the mornings. Theirs at night because they love the party. Wednesday nights, they close down main streets and they put all these classic cars out, and then they have food and drinks, and it's a big block party. And it's every Wednesday night. And on Thursday nights, they got free music where they shut down another part of the town, and they have this big giant summer concert series. And then on the weekends, it's live there. I don't think this village sleeps. Check out everything they have to offer at lamontdowntown.com. Nerd, what do you got for me?
Chris? After your interesting monologue about the 2005 champion Sox on a recent pod, I'd like to tell you about the member of the team I am happiest for. It's John Garland, and here's why. The "nobody believed in me/us" mantra is one of the most overused and misused phrases in sports. In Garland's case, though, that was true. As I remember it, the right-hander was a frequent target of fans and media alike in the seasons leading up to 2005. Underachiever, they said. Disappointment, they said. Doesn't care, they said. Bust, they said. I admit it, I was one of the doubters. After all, this was a former first-round pick who was touted as the Sox ace of the future. He was a tall, lanky, right-handed pitcher from California who was taken in the first round. Of course he was the next Jack McDowell. The native of Valencia was 6-11 in Class A in 1998 and 99 before the minor league light went on. Expectations for Garland started to soar when he went a combined 12-3 with a 2.65 ERA as a 19 and 20-year-old in the minors in 99 and 2000. So when he made his big league debut for the Sox at the age of 20, the fan base was excited. Garland was in the big leagues to stay in 2002, but compiled records of 12-12, 12-13, and 12-11 heading into 05. Those pedestrian outputs really had the critics clamoring and the doubters yapping on the brink of that championship season. Garland signaled 05 would be different when he was named Pitcher of the Month in April. A Player of the Week award followed on May 1st, and Garland was off and running to a breakout season. Garland, despite leading the team with 18 wins, was the fourth starter, so there was no call for him to pitch in the 3-game sweep in the division series. I admit it. Those old doubts crept back into my cranium as Garland's first postseason start in Game 3 of the ALCS in Anaheim approached. Frankly, I wondered if Garland was indeed mentally tough enough to handle the Sox' most important game of the season on the heels of a long layoff. That worry dissipated in 1/2 inning. The Sox took a 3-0 lead in the first, and Garland was effective and then brilliant in retiring the last 10 batters he faced in giving the Sox a 2-1 lead in the series. Garland's start in Game 3 of the World Series took a different path than his go-round in the ALCS. Baseball's biggest stage provided Garland with another opportunity to flash the mental toughness that many thought he had been lacking prior to 05. Instead of plowing through the lineup with his good stuff as he did 11 days earlier, Garland had to completely grunt through this one. He put the Sox in a 4-0 hole in the fourth, but instead of crumbling, as maybe the old Garland would have done, he stood firm. While his offense got him a lead thanks to a 5-run fifth, Garland retired 9 of the final 10 Astros he faced. He was robbed of a victory when Cliff Polite gave up a run in the 8th. Garland, though, wasn't robbed of the fact that he came up big when it mattered most for both himself and the White Sox, and that has forever endeared him to Sox fans who never question anything about him again. Before I get to my zinger, I remind you that gems like these and long-form pieces are on my blog, which you can link to at soxinthebasement.com. My zinger, in honor of the 20th anniversary of the World Champions, I'm going to zing frequently about that team, throwing out some gems you may not know about the 05 Sox. Garland was one of 7 California natives on the 05 Sox. The others, Blum, Bajnaru, Dye, Jenks, Borchard, and McCarthy. That's it, Chris. More than you probably wanted to know about fulfilled expectations, the 05 postseason, and Sox from the Golden State.
Maybe the guy who gets banned also doesn't get the emails.
No, they should send him the emails just to,
To rub it in. You can't go to this anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the whole package. Something to think about. I would love to know how they do this. Okay, so there's an 05 VIP photograph session on July the 12th. It's reunion weekend here coming up. And for $125, or starting at $125, it looks like, and I haven't gone into this yet, you get a pregame patio party, a game ticket, and then player photo opportunities and VIP meet and greet. Now, if I'm legit getting to meet a bunch of the 05 guys and getting free food and drink before the game, and then, ticket, whatever, that's fun, right? But the majority of that cost, that $125, I think I would do that. Sometimes I get their promotions.
Bad.
Sometimes I get their promotions. I go, that they're kind of overselling that. I have autographs of a lot of the 05 guys, but there's more I want to get. Like I have this big framed thing of the team, like celebrating on the field. And whenever I would go to something where I knew one of them was going to be at, I will bring it. And I'll actually just bring the border so I don't ruin the picture.
Right.
And I have them sign the border. So then when it hangs in the bar, it has like a lot of signatures of the team. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, I might need to go to this. Now, the funniest thing is, it's literally on the same day for this festival that I have tickets for. It's like down at the lakefront. It's all barbecue and country music. I can't remember what it's called, but I have tickets for this. I bought this on. I don't even want to go, Ed. I bought these tickets for an ex-girlfriend for Christmas.
Oh no!
And I didn't. I only was going because she wanted to go. Windy City Smokeout. I have these tickets.
Yeah, it's Windy City Smokeout.
Windy City Smokeout, right? I don't know any of these people. I'm not a country music fan. I bought these tickets for this girl. And then a month later, I broke up with her. And angrily, she sent me the tickets back. She should have kept them because I didn't want to go. But she sent me the tickets back. So now I'm thinking, sell the Windy City Smokeout tickets. If I go face value, I get 200. Buy the 125 thing for the White Sox for the same day.
Right.
Get the signatures, have the drinks, have the food, watch the ball game, hang out with the fans, $75 in my pocket.
See, there you go.
That kind of works out for me, right?
Right.
But I mean,
right.
like when you look at the promotions, and that's why I brought this up, when you look at the promotions, this one actually looks solid. Every once in a while you look at one, you go, I don't know, man, I might need to go to that.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, is it something where the more money you spend, the more interesting player you get?
I got to look at it. Well, I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, at $125,
there is a learn
Timo?
More button, so let's see how I get screwed in this one.
Is it just Timo and a couple of guys that came up that we forgot?
Oh, hold on a second.
Were on the team?
There's packages. You don't get everybody. Here's the catch. There's always a catch, Ed. You're not getting everybody. You got to pick between, do you want Burley and Pasetnik, Guillen and Garcia, Dye and Garland, or Konerko and Contreras? You got to choose.
Oh, come on.
You got to choose. You don't get them all. You get 2 of them for the 125. So then you got to decide who's worth that money. That's the way I'm reading this as I look at it. Now, you see, there's always a catch. There's always a catch. So you buy a package,
something.
You get all the thing, your autograph and photographs are with 2 of them. So you have to choose which 2. So first off, which 2? And now I'm not sure I want to do it for 2. I might go to Windy City Smokeout now and find a new girlfriend. So maybe that's where I go now since I already have the tickets. But Burley Pasetnik, Guillen Garcia, Dye Garland, Konerko Contreras. Wow, Dye Garland. Like, they're not a talkative group.
No, that's a very short greet.
Think about that. Like, Dye Garland, it's like, how you doing, guys? Good, how are you? They sign it, they move on. I don't think that's a conversational duo right there. They never struck me as, like, jabbery players that are going to talk a lot, right?
No,
right.
And Guillen and Garcia, that could be a fun conversation.
Well, Guillen Garcia is going to be funny because they're going to be joking with each other the entire time. They're friends.
Oh yeah.
Right, they're countrymen. I have only seen Freddie, like, I think I've told the story before. I went to an autograph session one time at a Sox Fest, and Contreras was there. And so I had him, so I wouldn't pick that one. And I have Konerko as well. So even though I love Paulie and Jose Contreras, I have their signatures, so I don't need to go to that group, that package. Okay. But I remember that Garcia called Contreras during the autograph session, and they had him on video on the smartphone. And Garcia was inside of a bar down in his home country, right, in Venezuela, and he was drunk, clearly. Like, he's all red-faced.
As you do in a bar.
And he was sweating. But then again, he used to sweat all the time, so maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't drunk. But he was really red-faced and really sweaty, and he saw Tadahito Iguchi over Contreras' shoulder and just kept yelling, Iguchi! And laughing as he was drinking what looked like a margarita. Might not have been. Okay? And that's that. So I've never actually met him face to face, but like they pointed the phone at me at one point, and I waved to him, and he was like, "Who's this guy that waving to me? Get me back to Iguchi." But like that was my one moment with Freddie Garcia. So I don't know. That might be a good one.
That's too good of a moment though to sully it by finding out that like he's really not that much fun when he's not
right.
in the bar.
So I would ruin it with package 2. So package 4 with Konerko and Contreras off the table because I already have it. Package 2. I don't want to ruin the Garcia thing, and if I just hang around Lamont long enough, I'll bump into Oz again. Right?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So I'm not gonna waste the money on that. We'll bump into him at some point, right? Jermaine Dye and John Garland, great ball players. I don't know if there's big conversation there. So now you're with Burley and Pasetnik, who are huge heroes of 05.
Oh yeah,
right?
Two of the biggest heroes of 05.
Like Konerko's a hero in 05. All these guys are heroes in 05, right? The 4 pitchers had those complete games in the ALCS, and they all pitched really well.
Jermaine Dye is your World Series MVP.
I never thought he should have been the MVP. I'm going to say something controversial here. He did drive in the winning run in Game 4, and he did have a good series. But I will contest that Joe Creedy was the 05 World Series MVP. For the defense
as I was reminding the world of that,
yeah.
As I was reminding the world of Jermaine Dye's MVP-ness, that was a bad way to say that. As I'm reminding everybody that Dye was the MVP, I was thinking in the back of my mind, but it should have been Creedy.
Joe Creedy was my MVP. And you could have made an argument for a lot of players out there, but I think as you watch those games, he made so many plays out at third base. Like, my dad kept yelling every time he would make a play. He'd be like, it's like Brooks Robinson is standing at third base. He just kept screaming it at the TV or when we were at the ball game.
Yeah.
He was just like, he was like Johnny on the spot throughout that entire series. And I thought he could. And I told him that one time when I met him. I'm like, I thought you should have been the MVP. Nothing against Jermaine Dye. He had a great, great job.
Like I said,
did a great job.
Jermaine Dye deserving as well, but Joe Creedy was otherworldly for that entire playoff run.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, the big package there for me would have been Burley, Podsednik, because of what's available. Burley's the one that comes out there after admittedly drinking and not expecting to have to pitch to come in and close a game. After he started another one, Podsednik has to walk off in game 2. Those are essential members of the 05 team sitting together. So I would go with that. On the other hand, though, I don't know if I'm doing it now because I don't get all 8. I just get 2 for the 125. I knew there'd be a catch. You knew it.
There's always a catch.
That's why you told me to click through and see what it was. There's the catch. Therein lies the rub, my friend.
And the worst part for you?
Yeah.
Matt Mieske will be there.
That'd be
He
awesome.
played 8 seasons he played.
If I ran into that guy in the street, I would do the same thing to him just for my own personal amusement. Hey, Mieske!
Yeah,
turns around. You suck.
You suck.
Socks in the basement. Socks in the basement. Socks in the basement.
Socks in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found and always on socksinthebasement.com.